about 2 lessons. In block 2, yesterday, we have discussed 2 lessons. Lesson number 6, lesson number 4, illustrations in publications, and lesson number 5, diagrammatic representation. And today, that is 11th of February, we are discussing 2 lessons in block 3. Block 3 deals with production and printing process. And in this block, lesson number 6 is about layout and designing. And lesson number 7 is about production techniques. And in the next class, that is on 17th of February, we will be dealing with lesson number 8, that is printing process of block 3, and lesson number 9, typography and composing of block number 4. And on 18th, we will be completing lesson number 11 and 12 because we have already dealt with lesson number 10. Now, today, this block number 3, is made up of 3 lessons, and this block deals with production and printing process. Lesson number 6, that is layout and design, and lesson number 7, production techniques. Layout and design. What is a layout? What are the essentials required for a good layout? And what is the usual layout for corporate publications? What is text? We have already dealt with visuals, text component, and what are the categories, and how you are going to display the pictures within the text or the layout, and what are all the software applications used for this purpose, what is meant by typography, how to select the typeface and the size, preparation of a dummy, all these things we'll be dealing in this lesson. And corporate publications are designed and produced by any organization to suit its needs and a particular situation. There are many types of publications, corporate publications we are dealing with. Say, for example, an illustrated brochure. What is a brochure? What is a handout? We will again discuss. The bridge-like house journal. House journal is again both internal and external, many a time, and sometimes exclusively for internal. It is called internal house journal. And if it is meant for the external stakeholders, other than employees, then it is called external house journal. And an all-important annual report. Annual report is very, very important. That should be produced by any organization, if not for dissemination of information, at least as for the sake of formality, for filing annually with the registrar. The registrar with whom the organization has been registered. If it is a company, it has to be registered. It has to be filed with the company registrar. If it is a non-trading company, for the non-trading company registrar. If it is a welfare association, with the registrar concerned. Similarly, whoever is the registrar of that particular entity, and if an annual report is to be published, it is published for the dual purpose. That is, the first purpose is to give out the information to the stakeholders, that is the public concern, and also as a formality, legal formality of filing the annual report with the registrar concerned annually. Annual report is nothing but the whatever happened in the year gone, that is the preceding year, it will be printed. It will be printed, ensuring that both general information, technical information, financial information, and the health of the organization, all these things are incorporated into a annual report. Therefore, it is called an important corporate publication. and a regular referencer like office manual or a handbook or a trade journal. These are all the publications. Their size, their layout, their look differ. This is what exactly a public relations officer or a corporate communications manager working for any organization and entrusted with the responsibility of editing and production of corporate publications will have to understand all these things. Now, what is a layout? Layout is very simple. And you just remember the brochure of a realtor, a real estate dealer. He will give you a layout of the land that he has purchased and he is going to develop. In that layout, there will be directions, north, south, east, west, the boundaries. And also you have the plots divided various sizes, maybe some low income group sizes, middle income group sizes, higher income group sizes, and maybe some villas if there are such demarcations. And each plot is numbered and directions, the roads, common areas, parks, club area, clubhouse, all these things, if it is a land. If it is an apartment thing or a gated community, similar things are given, similar technical details are also given. This is a layout to understand. Even very simple is that you just imagine your house. The layout is like this. Normally the kitchen will be on one side, a drawing room will be on one side, entrance may be one or entrance may be two. There can be two entrances or one single entrance. The bedrooms will be there, and the drawing room, the hall, dining hall, wash area, and the porch and sit out. These are all the things laid out into a plan. Similarly, if you are publishing a publication, there is a layout. What should be where? You just imagine a newspaper. In a newspaper, the layout is like this. There will be a masthead. The masthead means the heading, the publication place, the date, everything. Everything is, and ear panels on the left and right, and the 8 columns. 8 columns in the demi, because the paper is of demi size, there will be 8 columns. 8 columns, there will be some boxes, there will be some cartoons, and some. These are all the how a paper looks like is this layout. And each paper, more or less, will have the same kind of layout, unless their style book says that it should be like this. And this layout also includes the typeface, the size, the color, everything. The things, everything is included into that. So layout is very important because it is a broader appearance of a publication. So layout is a graphic activity of arranging all visual elements on a page. If it is a page one, page two, page three, covers, cover one, cover two, inside the main cover is cover two. Cover three is inside back cover is cover three, and back cover is called for the fourth cover. So there will be 4 covers. And then layout requires organizing skills of composition for attaining communication goals effectively. Whatever you do, whatever you publish, it is to disseminate the information to the targeted public. So who are your targeted public? Depending upon the level of understanding of the targeted public, it depends depending upon the organization which is producing the publication. This publication and its layout will also depend. Starting from the manual copying of books to the Middle Ages to the modern computer-aided intricate layouts, there are several kinds of layouts which can be adopted. And what are the essentials of a good layout? A good layout consists of text matter, the raw material of the publication. So content is the king. Text matter is the king. The other things are to beautify the text which you are going to give. So the text matter, which is the raw material of the publication, set in an attractive manner, The content also should be written in such a way as it would entice, attract the reader to go through the text. We will be saying that don't judge a book by seeing its cover. The face is the index of mind. But these two are opposing statements. Face is the index of the mind, sometimes may not be. Don't judge the book by its cover, generally. But in publications, this will not apply. What is needed is to attract the reader first. What is needed is to attract the reader first. The reader should be attracted so that he gets into the other pages, gets into the subject, gets into the try to understand, and he may adopt the services or he may adopt the products of your organization. Now, to attract the reader, language wise, the first paragraph or first few paragraphs, which are to showcase the publication, should tempt the reader with the characteristic expressions and ideas. So these are all the essentials of a good layout. A layout should be very attractive in appearance. It should have some colors, or even without colors, it should have some set procedures. So illustrations or pictures and reading matter as well as cover design, when printed on appropriate tint background, will make the page look more attractive. This is what is needed. This is essential. And what a layout is for corporate publications. We are talking anyway about corporate publications. As already discussed, the layout of corporate publications should be conceived and executed in a manner which is attractive and have an enduring impact on the reader. The layout, which comprises of setting of text matter and captions, should be pleasant and convenient for the reader to go through. For this, there are some styles or categories of setting the reading material. Similarly, there are different categories of setting the captions or headings, which we are going to discuss here. Now, the text component, how do you set it in the layout? The textual component of a corporate publication comprises of the reading material and the captions set in an attractive manner. Ultimately, it should attract the reader. That is the essence. Broadly speaking, we have 6 styles of setting the reading matter into a layout, that is into a page, which makes the reading material attractive generally. One is solid setting or conventional setting. What is solid? In your textbook, you will see the text in one column, left side margin and right side margin, top margin, bottom margin will be equal. There is no breakup. There is only one single column, that is solid setting, or this is called conventional style. And there is another format that is called solid setting in double columns. 2 columns instead of one column. Your textbook has a one column. Whereas some corporate publications may have double column if the width, not the height, if the width is smaller, not larger, you can go for 2 columns. Solid setting style in triple column. Instead of solid one column, instead of solid double column, you may have solid triple column. You think of a newspaper, they are solid 8 columns. Think of an evening edition tabloid, it may have 4 or sometimes 3. But generally, every corporate publication, according to the style, or as the printer suggests, or as the management desires, or you may think how many columns, depending upon the size of the paper, depending upon the size of the publication, that is corporate publications. You in consultation, you as a PRO, as a corporate communications manager, you may decide with the management and suggest it to the printer so that he carries it out. And while giving it to the printer will suggest you, if this is the size of this publication, the loss of the paper can be minimized. It looks attractive. So even the advices of the printer should also be taken into consideration while editing and production of corporate publications. Now, another text component is symmetrical setting. Symmetrical setting means there must be a symmetry. Short, long, or short, or long, short, or short, something like that. There must be an order in that settings. And another setting is flush left. Flush left means the beginning of the sentence will be at a particular point on the left margin, no matter where it ends. The end of the line may be ending. One may be long, one may be short, one may be long, one may be short, or unevenly. So only the left hand margin is flushed. So the entire text is flushed towards the left margin. And another thing is flush right. All lines are aligned equally on the right margin. But on the left side, that will be unequal. So you will see this kind of things only in brochures, not newspapers, or something light material, or in some journals, weekly journals. Similarly, there are 7 styles of categories of setting the captions. So far, we have discussed about the text, how it should look like in a page of the layout. Now it is about the captions, means headings. One is stepped. Stepped means step-like thing. Captions, I mean headings. And other one is waistline, long, short, and long. Long, short, long. It looks like a waist. So therefore it is called the waistline setting of captions. And the caption heading will also sometimes can be flash left or flashlight or sometimes inverted pyramid. The heading of an item of a text matter will be inverted pyramid. The first line will be longer, second line is somewhat shorter, third line is smaller, and the last line will be still smaller than the first one or the last one. And then ribbons. Ribbons are 2 lines running parallelly together, starts at one point, ends at one point. That is called a ribbon style of caption. And then captions are also put into the boxes. So text matter is kept loose, whereas the caption is unboxed. So it is put into a box. These categories are for optic beauty. This kind of settings is according to the style book of the publisher or the style book of the corporation, or according to the wish of the management, or the suggestion, or based on the suggestion of the public relations practitioner, so that it looks different from other publications, but yet it attracts the reader. So these are all the boxes: flush left, double column, single column, solid, stepped caption, waistline caption, flush left, ribbons, all these things are there. Now, after all these things, display of pictures. Yesterday, we covered extensively about visuals, illustrations, pictures. Now, how they are displayed in a layout of a page. So photographs, graphic representations, and sketches are the illustrations. They will illustrate the reading material and help in easy comprehension of the text matter. So continuous text is a boredom. These pictures, I mean the illustrations, visuals, whether color or no color, it will give some kind of relief. As I told you already, any reader will get into the pictures first and then go to the text. So pictures are very important. Some publications are exclusively called illustrated publications. We used to have illustrated weeklies in English. More of pictures, less of text. But in corporate publications, sometimes the management can adopt giving more publications or photo montage, exclusively earmarking some pages for photos exclusively, maybe for an event, maybe for a theme. But The display of pictures has a procedure, has a set procedure. Again, this is also for visual beauty, optic beauty, so that the people, the reader will get attracted, they will not get distracted. So diagonal photos in a page, either on the top left and diagonally another photo will be on the bottom right. If one photo is fixed on the top right, diagonally opposite side, another photo will be on the bottom left. This is called diagonal style of display of visuals, images, photographs, sketches, drawings, whatever it is. Another thing is vertical style of display. So in a page, the photos 3 or 4, whatever it is number, the according to the size of the paper, as many as you accommodate into a picture, all photos will line up on the left hand side and the text matter on the right side. Similarly, on the right margin, all the photos will line up and the text will be opposite to that. This is called vertical style of displaying the images. Now, horizontal style of display. In horizontal, say either on the top or on the bottom, you'll be according to the width of the paper, you'll be displaying photos and the text matter follows. And in the same manner, horizontally on the bottom, all the photos will come at the bottom. The related information will be above the photos. And there are certain software like Quark Express and Adobe InDesign. Yesterday we talked about several applications for publications. Today, let us deal with these two, Quark Express and Adobe InDesign. They come together, they will be used together. Page layout is determined to a large extent by the style of the house. I have already told you the style of the house, publishing house, and will be followed in a definite desktop template. There will be a template. Template means a format, pro forma, into which the text and visuals are set in. But layout is to be followed in relation to pagination, like in books and novels, without any figures. There are certain layout decisions in respect to the following: size of page margins, left, right, top, and bottom, size and position of images and figures, deciding on the number and size of columns and gaps between columns. They are called gutters. Gutters means the blank space between the columns. Placement of intentional white space. Some white space is intentionally left out. That is for a purpose. Use of special effects like overlaying text on an image. On an image, the text is superimposed. The image is visible still. Even the text is also visible. It saves a lot of space. But it is used, this technique is used very rarely. And use of color printing or spot colors for emphasis. Not all entire page is colored, only a spot is given color. It is to highlight. Specific elements to be laid out may include chapter or section titles or headlines, subheads, the image captions. Caption is important. If you give just an image, it is not sufficient. There must be a caption describing the image, or whether it is a photo or graph or chart, whatever it is. And then box outs and sidebars. Boxes, what is a sidebar? Sidebar is along the margin, either on the right or on the left. Vertically, it's a bar, sidebar. The text is written into it. Some quotes are given. Sometimes it is horizontally written. Into the side box, lines are written like this, or written like this. So Quark Express for creating and editing intricate and complex page layouts. This application is useful, and this is called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. This is the advantage. If a page is laid out on the computer with the colors, it will be exactly as when you print the page. If you print the page from out of the application, from out of the layout designed with the help of this Quark Express, it should exactly look like including the colors. So this is the advantage of this Quark Express. This is an application used for designing and laying out the pages for corporate publications. Another thing is Adobe InDesign. This is also a desktop publishing software introduced by the Adobe systems. It is useful to create works like posters, flyers, brochures, magazines, newspapers, and whatnot, whatever you wanted to design. Now, typography. Type graph. Typography is the art of setting the types. Type means the letters in a manner that is most appealing to the eye. To arrange the types, it needs a selection of typefaces, point size, length of the line, line spacing called leading. These days, we are not going for letterpress. If it is the case of letterpress, still it is better that a PR practitioner should know what is typography, what are the typefaces, what is font, what is the sans, what are the various typefaces, sets of uh, designs you have for printing all these things. It is better to understand. But still, in the computers, you will have number of typefaces, number of sizes, number of serifs, sans serifs. Something. Let us discuss about what is serif and what is sans serif in the typefaces, type designs. So all these things a PR practitioner is supposed to get acquainted with. Then the next thing we have to see is the selection of typeface and size. If it is for we are going for letterpress, even otherwise also, if it is being printed on the desktop or an offset, whatever it is, you should know what is this particular typeface, what is the size of this type font, what is the font. So what is typeface? Typeface is a set of characters. Suppose A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. 26 alphabets is there. There is a style. I think we have seen uh, why we should think. We have seen already while learning English the capitals. First type of ABC, second type, fourth letter is writing together. Similarly, in typefaces also, there are various type designs, but they are all clubbed into one group, but they are given a name. The important among them, Arial is one thing, Helvetica is one thing, Times New Roman is one thing, Verdana is one thing. There are scores, maybe 100 or more. Sorry for the interruption, some technical problem. It has gone entirely and came back as it is. So typefaces we are discussing. Typeface, as I told you, is a set of characters of the same design, and the important designs, typefaces being Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman, and Verdana. And this Times New Roman is generally used for official purposes and legal purposes also. Other things may be for other publications. There are also two general categories in typefaces. General, two broadly, vertically, serif and non-sans serif. Serifs are small decorative marks or protrusions which embellish characters and make them easy to read. Sans means without protrusions. So you have serif and sans serif. These are all the two styles. There is no restriction on the use of different versions of typefaces. One can use serif family types like Times New Roman, or from a sans serif family like Arial or Helvetica. However, the practice is to use typefaces from not more than two families. You cannot club many faces, many families together. One page or two or three pages together belonging to one particular theme or topic can be belonging to one family, or another thing may belong to another family. So, what is the type size, typeface we have seen? What is the type size? All printing elements like text or lines and non-printing areas like blank pages have their exclusive measuring system called the point system. The system was introduced in 1795 by the father and son duo Francois and Fermi. One has to choose the design elements. So, what type of size? The type size can be measured in points. 4 points to 1 point for 144 points. They are measured in points, 2 inches size up to 2 inches size, from 144th of an inch to 2 inches size. These are all the sizes. Now, preparation of a dummy is very important. The dummy, what is a dummy? Haphazard functioning in publication work means all hell let loose. News stories getting published twice, photos mismatched, wrong headlines for news stories, parts of stories cut off, missing page numbers, big chunks of white space, etc., etc. These are all the usual mistakes roll out in printing publications. So, to avoid all these things, it is always better and it is a compulsion that a PRO should get a dummy prepared so that the corrections can be formatted, corrections can be carried out. So, a dummy can be exactly to the size of the publication which you are going to print it out. Though general, there are rules of how a dummy is to be prepared. Now, let us go to the next lesson, that is production techniques. Production techniques. What are the production techniques? How to produce a folder, how to produce a brochure, how to produce an annual report, and the scheduling of the annual report, distribution of the printed annual report or whatever, whether it is a calendar, whatever is the publication, and diaries, mailers, all these things we will see. So, production of folder and production of brochure. What is the difference between folder and a brochure? Both are handouts. A folder is generally a one sheet folded once or folded twice, so that together when it is open, it can be looked like this in one glance. If it is a page, you have to turn pages, only facing pages can be seen, not the third page or fourth page. But in a folder, it is possible for you to see, spread it on the table or hold it like this, and then see the entire thing at a glance. So a folder is once folded, but a brochure is generally either a folded thing or a pinned thing or a stitched thing. Generally, 16 pages is called, as far as India is concerned. But in other countries, there is not much difference between a folder and a brochure, but both are corporate publications in order to give out information about the products and services of the organization. Now, let us see what is folder and how it is produced. What is a folder? From print media point of view, a folder is something different from a file folder. File folder is something where you put papers into it. It will hold all papers together. That is called file folder. Normally, you see an L folder, plastic L folder, or sometimes a rib with clip. Papers can be put or perforated, put into them, and then clipped or secured, fastened. But this folder is not that folder. Paper holder is not folder. Folder is something. It is a publication. From print point of view, folder is something different from file holder or file folder, or which is commonly known these days as one that contains various files, as we see in a personal computer. So that is a folder in even in computer also. A folder may contain many documents, Word documents or whatever is the document name. Stationers define folder as a plastic cover, as I told you, the L folder, where loose papers or files are stored. But the one that is referred here is something that a PRO brings out attractively, colorfully, and professionally. So a folder is a folded literature made of folded sheet of paper, or sometimes a card or a cardboard. The purpose of a folder is to attract the reader again and provide important information about a company or a company's issue or a company's product or a company's service or a company's idea or a company's activity, be it a CSR activity or whatever is the activity, in a combination of text and illustrations. A printed folder is a powerful business device when it is created the right way. And you, the PRO, should view the folder as a challenging piece rather than fulfilling the formality of bringing it out in a customary manner, customary form. It's a challenge. If the folder is good, if it can attract, you will get credit. Also, the management will get credit. If it is spoiled, you will get bangings. So you have to be very careful in producing a folder. Now, design. How a folder is to be designed, or for that matter, any brochure. The first stage of producing a folder is to prepare a proper design with the material available. Layout design. It would be appropriate if at least 2 or 3 alternate designs are prepared by the graphic artist or the DTP operator, and prints are taken out for final decision of the PRO and for the approval of the management, whoever is the management. If a group of people sit together and decide which folder to select out of the designs presented, a soft copy of the file is projected on a screen through an LCD projector. This is only to get the approval of what to be get approved by the management. It is always said that 4 eyes are better than 2 eyes. It means there must be somebody to verify, look, and point out the deficiencies. Once approval is obtained, the second stage is to send the file for approval of the proof to the printer to go ahead with the printing of the same. And there must be follow-up action. It is not sufficient that you give out the output from the computer, approve it, and say, go ahead for printing. The errors may crop in. Even the printer is bound to make mistakes. You have to be there in the printing press or get the copy to your desk. And from time to time, during the process of pre-process, pre-press, and also during the printing, and even after that, you'll have to check at every stage. And production of a brochure is an informative, because it is an informative document that can be folded into a flyer or a pamphlet or a leaflet. Brochures are advertising pieces mainly used to introduce your company, your organization, or your brand, or your diversification, or your expansion, or your unit, or your innovation, or your discovery, whatever it is. According to Helmut Kipan, author of the Handbook of Print Media, brochures are commercial print work. The terms folder, as I told you, folder and brochure are liberally used for each other. So don't mistake. If somebody comes to you and say, carrying a folder and say that it is a brochure, don't mistake him. See, it is not a mistake, but generally folder is 1 or 2 or 3 folds, but a brochure is some 8 pages or 12 pages or 16 pages, either stitched or pinned. So that is called brochure. But even then, it is not a mistake if some tells this for that. Okay. A brochure is a better accompaniment as a product. As you get into a tourist bus or any other flight, you will immediately get a brochure made available for you to read. So it gives you information. Now, after the brochure, how do you produce an annual report? This is very, very important. Whether your organization produces brochures, diaries, calendars, whatever is the publication, as a formality, as a legal formality, as a compulsion, compulsorily an annual report is prepared, whether it is on a paper, whether it is on a simple printed matter or a beautiful bounded book. It depends upon the size of the organization, size of the transactions. So, as the term annual report implies, it is something that is produced once in a year because that is annual report, annually produced, providing information about the general and academic health of the organization in order to give it to the stakeholders. That is first purpose. The second purpose is to file with the registrar concerned. Another way of looking at annual report is that it is a comprehensive report. Underline comprehensive. It contains the total information. Comprehensive report on a company's activities throughout the preceding year, the year gone. Annual reports are intended to give shareholders and other interested people information about the company's activities and financial purposes. They may be concerned, they are generally considered as gray information, gray literature, because that is not so attractive like a brochure. There will be a lot of information, of course, with the charts and diagrams about the financial health and the progress of the organization. Therefore, it is called a gray literature. Most jurisdictions require companies to prepare and disclose annual reports. So, if the annual report, if the annual financial performance is better, as reflected in the annual report, the creditworthiness of the organization will get improved. Suppose you are making some profits and submit this annual report to a banker that as a compulsion. So you may get loan or you may get some sanctions by production, by submission of annual reports to the government. You may get some grants, you may get some permissions, you may get some subsidies, or you may get some kind of relief or whatever it is. If it is government, you will get relief or subsidies or grants or permission. If it is bank, so that will be assessed, annual report will be assessed, and based on that, your performance, your credit worthiness, you will avail further loans from the financial institutions. Need not be necessarily nationalized banks, even private banks also, even some financial institutions. So the first page is to the first stage of production of annual report is to get in touch with several printers to get a quote for comparison. So quotation is important. A PRO aims at having the cake and eating it too. Means he has to do it. He has to feel it. Having a cake and eating it too means having a cake and giving it to others. That is not correct. He has to get it done and he has to face and he has to enjoy the benefit of it, because if it is good he will get the pat, if it is not good he will get a bang. So because he has to be very careful in finalizing the annual report, he would want a printer to produce the annual report economically at the same time without compromising at the same time on the quality. A PRO can use the following as guidelines while entrusting the work of producing annual. Make sure the content and copy is fully furnished, fully finished, completed. The printers may charge extra for correction at a later stage, because every time if you want to intrude and ask for corrections, he may charge you extra. The better in the beginning itself, you ensure within your organization that the entire content and the visuals and the planning, then in what page, what should come, what first, what next. All these things you'll have to decide and give it for the printing, and then get the dummy, get a copy, wet copy, so that you can compare, get the approval of the management again, and then go for printing. So pages are printed in multiples of 4 generally. If one is folded like this, you will have 4 pages. But any publication will get into multiples of 4, so that paper is not wasted. You want 10 pages, it's not possible. It shall be either 8 pages or 12 pages, 16 pages, 20 pages, 24. That is multiples of 4 pages. If you have decided that you wish to use color, talk to your printer to ensure that the color that they print is the color you are expecting. They will also suggest you. These days, you have multiples of colors. but according to the style of your organization, according to the option of the organization. Why style and option? Because every organization will have certain colors owned by them. Supposing your organization is having a logo with two colors or three colors. Generally, your text, your total outlook also will confine to those logo colors, because color is also a copyright. Color, combination, logo, design, visual, slogan, sound. These are all the copyrighted things so that they give a particular identity to organization. Similarly, your publication also generally will conform to these colors which your organization has been using from the beginning, or the color of your logo, or color of your organization, color of your product, whatever it is. Now, prevention is better than cure. We know it already. A PRO has a crucial role to be very cautious before he gives a nod for going ahead with the printing on the part of the printer. It would be disastrous if he tends to get back after the proof is approved and the production is in printing stage. As I told you, four eyes are always better than two eyes, so that there will be a proper check. And especially in the case of annual reports, it is very important. So check carefully. The printers will convert a Word document into a different packages for printing, and check page numbers is still correct or not, or they are whether they are in continuation. Generally, these days, if it is put into a computer, it will automatically give a page number. Suppose you have option for insert page numbers. Page numbers can be inserted on the top center, top right, or bottom center, bottom right, or even bottom left. Similarly, footnotes and headnotes can also be incorporated in the margin where the page number also comes. Then check all text is in the appropriate font, the font you selected, the typeface, if it is Helvetica, if it is Arial, if it is Times New Roman, if it is Verdana, it will continue for the rest of the story, particular item. And also the size. If you use some size in one page or the same typeface and some other size in the next page, it doesn't look nice unless it is a caption, unless it is a heading, unless it is a subheading. But the same family typefaces will have to be selected. The size may vary. Heading may be a little bigger, and the text matter is smaller than the text, that is captions, headings. If you have a left and right hand header, check they are on the correct side of the page. If you have a background color or design, check the writings is still clearly readable. Supposing a background color is given and your text is going to be very light, then your text is not visible. Only the color becomes dominant. Then it is very difficult for the reader. He will have to strain his eyes. So that will distract him and he will close the matter immediately. He will close the book, close the publication, whatever you have supplied. So it must be ensured that the color must be pleasing, the size must be visible, even to an ordinary man, even a bespectacled man, even with eyes. It should not displease them, it should please them. So all these things will have to be taken care, because after all, you are going to give it to the people for them to read and get attention. So once the PRO ensures that everything is in place, and that time has arrived for the annual report to go for printing. We are all talking about annual print only because this annual report only because this is very, very important. Now, the size of the report is important, extent of content, copy and format editing, and the resource capacity of staff available to undertake the work. All these things will have to be ensured before undertaking the work of printing annual report. And now, after it is printed, how it should be distributed. The printed annual reports. Either you can bring them back to your office and arrange for sending by post, by parcels, registered parcels, or book post, whatever it is. Sometimes even this work can be entrusted to the printer himself, where he will make out cartons or covers or tell them as per your instructions to the mailing list securely, so that your time is saved here A little more extra money is charged by the printer for after printing for forwarding or posting the things. Now, production of manuals and handbooks. Manual. Manual is generally a rule book. Say, service manuals are there, police manuals are there, doctors' manuals are there, lawyers' handbooks are there, chartered accountants' handbooks are there. They contain some general information about the profession. For example, if you buy a TV or if you buy a motorcycle or a car, along with the tools, spares, cover, and certain other things, you will also get a manual. The manual will contain what is the problem, how it is revealed by the car or the scooter. What is the problem? What should how it should be installed and how it should be operated? What is the remote to be used? And all these things, the earthing like thing will be written and illustrated in that manual. That is also called handbook. Just as how a folder and a brochure are liberally used for each other, so brochure and folder are liberally interchangeably used. Similarly, manual and handbook also interchangeably used. So a manual will contain all the information about the profession, or all the information about the product, or all information about goods or any other the usable things. Sometimes they will also contain not user operated things. Sometimes only for the installation. How an installer, how a mechanic will have to do this, and sometimes how the user will have to use this. Separate portions will be there within the manual or handbook. And now calendars. Calendar will have the dates and days. Sometimes only one single sheet, sometimes one single sheet with perforated, removable month-wise portions below the calendar. With changing times, printed calendars have taken a back seat from functional point of view, but still predominantly used as a PR activity. Even now, even if you have e prefixed to everything, e-diary, e-calculator, e-thing, e-that thing, e-this thing, still a wall calendar, hard copy, mounted on the wall is still better. Many people will at least use two calendars per household, one for their professional calendar, another one is to know the day, date, time, Rahu Kalam, Durmuhurtam kind of, because we are religious people. We don't leave that thing. Instead of science advancement, we don't want to leave that thing. So calendar is an indispensable thing. You could use a calendar as a way to showcase your company's achievements. If it is a diary, it is misplaced. If it is a brochure, it will get into the other books and you cannot trace it out. If it is a calendar, it will remain on the wall. You can see it day in and day out. Even if you don't want to see it, it will be visible to you. So that is the advantage of calendar. And that calendar should be very attractive so that people will like to put it on the wall, nail it on the wall. Now, production of diaries and mailers. It was not until the late Renaissance period that dairy began to have some literary value as the importance of the individual came to the forefront. Since then, it has often been used by the historian, not only in the immense importance of its supply of facts, often unrecorded in historical and political chronicles, but also as a picture of the daily life of its writer. Whoever writes the diary will record his daily movements, will record his daily engagements, both present and the future. And it will also serve as a reminder, as a repository of information. Suppose I wanted to check what I have done this day last year. If I maintain a diary, I'll go to my previous year's diary and check what has been done, whether I have given a money, whether I have received money, whether I gave a check to that person. So for all these purposes, and diaries are of two kinds, like manuals, like house journals. It also serves two purposes. The diaries will contain not only the days and dates for you to write your engagements, it will also have some manual information. Suppose, suppose a media journal, press club diary is there. It will contain not only the days and dates, it will also contain the numbers and names and together with their organizations and phone numbers of all the members of the press club. Also, the numbers and addresses, email IDs of the media houses, TV channels, private channels, and English newspapers, both native and upcountry newspapers. And you will have the important information about the governor's office, the council of ministers, and the high court. These are all the general important information. That information and the members information, plus you will have the day and dates pages, maybe one page per day or 2 days per page. And also you will have some advertisements, because advertisement support will be used to offset the cost of the printing of the diaries. So supposing it is a legal diary used for advocates, it will have a kind of reference, important acts like IPC, CRPC, Indian Evidence Act, or court fees, how much fees to be, how much stamp to be affixed for this and that and that. So this is the information. Supposing it is a PR diary meant for public relations practitioners, it will have the same information as general information what has been incorporated in the journalist's diary, press club diary. Apart from that, their members directory will be there. It will have the names of the National Council members. It will have the chapter office bearers, something like that information, and sometimes the bylaws. If it is a diary produced by a residential welfare association, it will have the names of all the members. It will have the bylaws of the registered society. If it is a cooperative society, cooperative bylaws will be there. If it is a residential welfare association registered under some Societies Registration Act, Societies Registration Act 2001 of Telangana or AP, whatever it is there. So these are the diaries. Diaries also look very attractive. And if you go to the printer, he will ask you whether what is the standard. Would you like to have the standard size, or would you like to have this still smaller size, or a pocket diary? So depending upon your requirement, he will suggest you what kind of diary. But at the same time, it is you and your management will have to decide what kind of diary, what should go into that diary, and what information and what kind of daily pages will have to be there. All these things will have to be ensured. And then mailers, instead of emailers, another kind of dissemination of information is a printed mailer periodically is printed and they are put into pre-printed covers. The from address is pre-printed. To address only you will have to mail much. So this is called direct mailing, this is for direct marketing, whether it is government or it is a organization for profit or any organization, not for profit organization. The mailer doing mailing, printed mails through the pre-printed covers, either by regular postage or book post. It is also a information dissemination device. So with this, let us close this here. And in the next class, that is on 17th, we'll be dealing with two lessons. And on 18th of February, we'll be dealing with the remaining lessons, that is 11 and 12. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and thanks to the university. Thank you.